group.
Right. Welcome everyone we're here in the connection field with this amazing team of radical beings living on the planet here in the connection field in service for the good of the whole. And I'm Shelley Darling, and I've been away for a couple of weeks, so I don't know what all these, radical light beings have been up to, but happy to be here on Facebook and invite you into this beautiful space from an hour before, always each week. Amani and the Soul Fire, Ms. Amani and the Soul Fire circle come together and really lead us and bring us into this heartbeat of the mother. And let's just start there tonight, just really tapping into this heartbeat. We were last week in Nebraska for the Caravan of Unity, and it began with that heartbeat. And it was all about coming home to the Heartland. And so tonight, my guess is, given that this is moving, that this is where we're going tonight, to really come in and track some of what's calling us in terms of us coming together as a collective, focusing on the restoration and resonance and balance of the mother. So, but let's just start with a little heart resonance here this evening. So I invite you to take a few very deep, really stretching your belly, conscious breaths. Letting go of mass consciousness. Noticing where that might be challenging. Noticing the little tendencies of fear. And bringing your loving attention to wherever that's being held. And just letting go of that breath. And at the end of each breath, just coming in with a pause. Feeling into that still point where your body can find its soulful rest. Because we need our bodies to just want to come along with us. So we start tonight in gratitude and appreciation for the generative whole, for the ones that are showing up and saying yes. And tonight, holding the whole of the fires that are happening along the planet, those people that are watching hurricanes coming towards them. And relaxing in so that we can be the most alert and attentive and knowing exactly how to move. This is the beauty of the mother, is that there is a rhythm. And as we breathe together, we're tapping into that rhythm, that heartbeat. And that we're creating coherence so others can come in and just easily slip in and open their heart. And just tonight at the fire, all the different senses were coming in, our smell and our feeling and our awareness. Just feel your feet as if their toes were just moving into this moist, wet soil. Allowing our awareness to drop deep into the crystalline nature, to the center, the magma of new birth, new creation that's always happening. And the primal waters that are always moving, that take years and years to rise up to the surface of the earth. And the beautiful, stalwart trees that bend and bow and move with the wind. And if you're quiet enough, you can hear their song. You can hear the messaging. You can feel them around us. We call in the ancestors and the four directions and the heart of heaven and the heart of earth and the heart of our circle here tonight. And we feel this rising up. Just like the sap rises up, our consciousness is rising up. And we honor the angels and archangels and the winged ones, the stone beings, the creepy crawlers, all beings, the four-leggeds and two-leggeds. And we see this medicine wheel of life moving and spiraling as the toroidal field. And we just breathe that in and feel that influx, that infusion of the great central sun, this golden light frequency just coming in and filling every pore, optimizing every cell. And tonight we begin and we take a bow to the beauty of all the colors, of all the frequencies, and of this light as it hits our inner and outer water. And we just consciously now just allow this energy to radiate out, that through our connection here tonight, we know that it illuminates and touches everyone on the planet. And we can hold that. And the invitation in the moment is to just feel into just a little bit of the density that's going on, the heaviness, the sadness, the suffering, and just breathe with it. Breathe our love into this atmosphere. The weight of the air, the smoke, that is our smoke. And just feel those winds of grace beginning to move, to rise up, to bring the heavenly waters that is so needed. So just take a few breaths and just release that exhale and just shake your shoulders, let your body move a little bit, shake your arms. Let that smile rise. And just welcome everyone here to our beautiful evening tonight. Allowing that fluidity, that liquidity to move. And I'm going to pass it over to Charlie and Tyhson. So if you're new and you're listening, we've been working together for years now within what's called the Sacred Evolutionary Dowsing Consortium, where we came together consciously understanding that together we are greater than the sum of our parts, and the exponential healing that can happen when we work as a collective. The key, the linchpin, is heart resonance. That's what makes us work. It's the love. So with that, I pass it open to you, Tyson and Charlie, and weave in a little bit of the magic that has happened over the past 2 weeks, if you would. And welcome everyone, and looking forward to seeing where we're being guided tonight, and as we move towards the solstice and the dark moon and the new moon. Lots is happening here. Home lesson.
Tyson's going to be quiet.
Well, I could say something.
Okay.
All right.
Well, good.
Welcome everybody to this evening, which in my world is filled with smoke. And I was listening to somebody today who said, in the smoke is energy of the rising of consciousness, of transformation, that not to worry, that this is part of the change that we're in. And it reminds me of the Divine Mother energy of Phoenix transmutation, transformation, that out of the flames of the fire comes the new beginning, the new earth. And we really can't have one with the other. And I have to say, I was in great sadness this morning thinking of all the wildlife and the fires everywhere and the suffering of all the humans. And I had to really work on letting go of all that and realize that by staying in the sadness of my heart, I was part of the problem. So finding that inner joy, that inner bliss, that inner all right with the world, and not trying to change it, because what I resist persists. So when I let go and know that it's all part of the divine flow of transformation, then I can I can add my energy to the divine flow as this new birth happens. Otherwise, I'm part of the problem. So that's what today was like. The last 3 nights were full of dreams and lots of energy flowing through. I saw a picture on Facebook where it showed waves of energy coming from space or from wherever onto California. It was just like wave after wave after wave. I don't know where these waves of energy were coming, but I know that we've been bathed in multiple rays of energy, both positive and negative. So as dowsers and energy healers, we're in the business of transforming energy. So I've been transforming energy, moving that which no longer serves us into the energy that does serve us. So keep the waves going. We'll just convert them, and that'll just mean the transformation will happen quicker, faster, and deeper. So that's where I am. Looking forward to the skies clearing a little bit more so I can be back walking in nature and swimming, having my last month of swimming in Shuswap Lake. And yeah, life passes us by, but life is good. I have a little mini community here, and getting settled in for the winter, harvesting our tomatoes. We just are about to pick all the apples, and we just harvest all of the nuts. So getting them before the squirrels is always an interest to see if you can beat the squirrels, right? But the top of the tree is left for the squirrels. So we're all doing well, including the squirrels. So that's it for me for right now. Blessings to all of you. Thanks for joining us on this call. And thank you, Peter, for all of what you've been sharing with us in the Boots on the Ground Geomancy class this afternoon. I introduced everybody to Healing the Heartland and the work that you were doing. So we'd love to invite you to come and talk about it to our class. So everybody got a precursor of what this is all about, and showing all the different charts that you send us. So thank you very much for all the work that you're doing. And thank you for showing up and helping us understand how we can help you bring about the change and transformation in the heartland of America. And to me, that's really where this is transformation, about all these fires and all the hurricanes and all of the potential calamities on the earth can be transformed when we go to the heartland of America, our inner heart, and do the transformation, like I was talking about, getting out of grief, getting into joy, knowing that we're on track, knowing that we're blessed, knowing that we're being guided, and knowing that even in what seems to be craziness, out of this will come the transformation that we have incarnated to assist to bring onto this planet. And that's it for now. Thank you.
Thank you, Tyhson. I don't think I can add much to that as much as I can talk. I do welcome you all here. It's beautiful to be here with each of you. My day was 45 degrees waking up here in Maine this morning, which was a radical resonance change. And the smoke is even reaching the East Coast. So the sun was hazed, and it didn't look like smoke, it looked more like fog, but the sky was gray. And you knew that this was the West Coast meeting the East Coast, and we're all in this together. We're all transforming. We're all listening to our guides and the ancestors and Mother Earth for our purpose and how we can assist not only ourselves, but all life on this planet. And that's what Radical Earth Heart Resonance is really for me, is showing up. And I was awakened by Melchizedek at 4 o'clock this morning to work on your grid work, Peter. So thank you. And bless you, it was a joy. I spent 3 hours rambling around Mother Earth, watching and calling up interesting things I never even knew or heard of before. So with that, I'm complete. And as we all join together here, I send you my peace, my light, and my love. Thank you. I offer the floor to anyone else who has something rising that they would like to bring before us. Whatever.
Hello, this is Karen. Can you hear me okay?
Yes.
Oh, good. Well, I just wanted to come in fairly quickly because I already had one power outage and we're having a major thunderstorm here. So our sky, I'm grateful, is clear and very wet. In case I get knocked off for the call at some point, I did want to propose putting together, like we talked about, a group that's not a public group, especially for the equinox. I don't know if you can hear that or not, but and the house is vibrating and shaking from it. So the equinox is on the 22nd at 7:31 a.m. Central Standard Time. That would be the same as Mountain Daylight Time. And I don't know if anyone wants to, put that together to where we meet together or what, and people, and everyone on that circle go to where they're guided to go to do the work, as we were talking about last week, and as you and I were talking about, Charlie, and also you and I, Peter. So in case I get knocked off, I wanted to have somebody, take that to help put together, because the 22nd is next Tuesday. So I don't know if you want it to be right at the time of the equinox. Also wanted to point out the new moon is the 17th, which is just in 2 days, and that's at 5 in the morning Central Standard Time. So that would be 7 a.m. Eastern Daylight Time. So didn't know if we want to do something during the new moon as well. But anyway, I just wanted to bring that in case I don't get to stay on the call for the whole time. because that is a distinct possibility. But you never know here. Sometimes during the bad storms, the power is fine, and then it's sunny and no power. So thank you. So I'll just put that out on the floor for something to think about and discuss among everyone and see who would be interested in participating and how we might do this.
Karen, I just need to ask you something. Is it 7:31 p.m. on the equinox or a.m.?
No, AM. Yeah, AM. I'm sorry. The chart I look at does more like 24-hour time. So if it's 7:31, and that's Central Standard Time, that's the same as Mountain Daylight Time right now. It means it's morning because otherwise it would add 12 to that, and that's the time it would show.
Okay.
So,
Thank you.
yeah. So I just wanted to put that on the floor because I don't know if I'll get to stay. I've already been knocked off once. So thank you.
Thank you.
Hey, this is Amani. I wanted to tag in on that. I put the information and the map on my Facebook page, and I have 20 people that are interested in participating. I am going to send them the video that you sent. I just have been full on since I received that. But these are people that I know from all different circles, and they want to participate.
How encouraging is that, Peter?
Yeah, I want to express my appreciation to all of you for the support, and Imani particularly for that effort. Must apologize for not getting back to you. It's been quite a emotionally and physically draining week this past week. I'm at a community here in in southeastern Arizona, and the principal of the project comes once a month, and it's quite intense when he's here. So I take up all my time and energy. So really appreciate you carrying the ball over this week and getting things in motion. Really, really wonderful to hear that Melchizedek is on board. It's really, really, I'm really grateful. So thank you. But I'm tired, so I don't know how much I can add this evening.
I've got a question for you, Peter. I received the email that you sent out with the map that we were looking at last week. I was just wondering, because we were actually talking, and the way it started, we were talking about the caravan unity and where it was going, and the energy just kind of went, and we, and then we started talking about that space. And you already had the map of it circled and highlighted in that energy. I was just curious, when did you work on that circle, and when did you start kind of putting this into play, I guess, of what energy was going on around there?
What the circle around the where the caravan was working?
No, the New Madrid fault line. The circle of 10 that we were talking about near the end last week.
Yeah, that's been on my radar for a couple of years now. These earth rings that I've been working with all have these large uplifts of granite, these plutons coming up through the earth, and it's usually indicates like a mud bubble, like you might see in Yellowstone, uplifts or something. So yeah, so that, and the actual coherence of it just came together, I think a month or so ago, 2 months ago, where I actually found those cities in geometric regularity. That would, it's like nature and culture respond to these energies, where a cultural center will arise as part of the energy field of an earth ring, and identify it as a ring. So I'm trying to think of an analogy of nature, but I can't quite get that. So, but yeah, it's been it's been fairly new. I've worked on the Four Corner area for some time now, and the Cachinale, and trying to activate the Mississippi River arc that spans the country, and all along this arc there are, like the Great Lakes and these other circular forms. And I simply dowsed and asked if what's stopping the works, what's the next work that needs to happen, where's the solution lie. And I dowsed when Madrid came up, and in looking at its position in the dynamics of the other Earth rings in North America, you can see where it's almost like a central cog, but like the power cog of a watch or something, and all the other gears work off of it. So by releasing, that which is stuck there, the trauma, that will be free. I think I mentioned, I've been kind of thinking about this line, the Missouri Compromise line, for some time. I spoke with a Kentucky dowser, Raymond Grace, and he said that the Earth is really hurting from this one. And he didn't know why, but he said the Earth really. So that was kind of a confirmation that there was a great need for Earth healing in that zone. So, if we free the emotion free the burden of that emotion of trauma that the Earth has taken on along with us, health is returned. Hopefully, this polarity that's being played on, there's a polarity within this ring that's being played on politically and emotionally, even between couples, that is dividing us, and that trauma is really the source of it. And so it's, it's trauma is, part of life on planet Earth, but this particular one has focused it.
So I'd like to pop in here to help weave for people that might be listening to this for the first time, and also even myself, from who was at that caravan, have been in the Heartland, was a part of an incredible healing that was happening between the Pawnee and the Ponca and the Omaha, right in that Heartland, and to help people really understand, because part of Radical Earth Heart Resonance is that this is a space, unlike the consortium, where we come and really specifically have been working together, making sure people know how to dowse, and that they can have that experience and they understand the language. Here, it's a little bit different, because it's a more, we're in the connection field. It's for people who want to connect, want to learn more, want to have a sense of, oh, wow, I feel those evolutionary drivers to learn more about what we're doing. So I think it'd be really important, just for people to understand, in terms of Earth Heart Resonance, and even in the consortium, we're tracking the energy of, like Peter, what you were just saying, we're tracking that energy of what is next, what is calling us as a collective, to be healed. And it can go anywhere from, in the consortium, we make sure that we really focus also on everyone's home and land, that everyone who's coming there is living in a really clear space, is living in alignment with the land they're living on, because that is really important when it comes to working on the land and healing. And that also enables people to come in and learn some dowsing. And that's something we actually haven't done here. So for us to remember it here in this particular group that, and people who are listening on Facebook, this might be somewhat new to them, and also would like to invite clarity about, we came in immediately and people were already talking about whatever this project was. And I think it's really important just to, if we as a collective are going to are shifting and focusing on that, for the upcoming equinox. And the interesting thing to me, and I want to really bring this in because, rather than separating and going out and yes, we can do private stuff, but that we've been doing it here in the connection field. And this is a beautiful opportunity, given that Tuesday night is the equinox, we can actually do something here as a collective and invite people to experience and participate and expand and actually, talk, I want to talk to Amani to really create a space that we can really be informed by the field itself on that day and be influencers, because that's who we are. We're transmitters, we're transreceivers. So for me, and for all of us here, it's important that we are actually weaving these waves of information and light so everyone can feel included. This is an inclusive, safe space. So I wanted to bring that in. And if, it sounds like, and I did talk to Charlie and had that sense, okay, this is where everyone was wanting to go. And also that we can do this in a way that can really invite more people and if, depending on where you want to go. And that was an open sort of forum. But Peter, maybe since we're working with you, if you would just, take just a minute or two and just explain, just what is it, we're talking, obviously people have been involved in the Caravan of Unity, so they have heard and they listened to the indigenous grandmothers and Joan Henry and the story about the corn and the cranes. And now we're going deeper into the energy lines of the earth. So if you would just take a few minutes and weave everybody into what we're speaking about here, that would be really great.
Okay.
And I know you're really tired and you told us you weren't going to really talk, but I think we're getting nudged here.
You got to rise to the occasion. Yeah, I was looking at where the caravan was last week at the crane sanctuary. Is a good example of my process where there's a center. So there was a center generated by the gathering of people, by the ceremony there, by the cranes that gather. So that's a sense of place. That's a quality of place. The cranes generate a quality of place. And, that are, the medicine cards and medicine animals all speak to the quality of cranes. But where I live in southeastern Arizona is where those very same cranes come to winter every year. So the cranes generate a radius that generates a ring of inclusion. So with that particular ceremony, with the help of the cranes, there was an expansion, a flight of that ceremony on across the whole interior of the continent. So by coincidence also, or grace, I would say, the conspiracy of grace, I call it. That same site was along the Kachina ley line that goes from Mount Kuchama down by San Diego over to the cave of Goosenap in Nova Scotia. And all the way it's keyed into multiple mythical landscape sites of Native peoples. So I'm sure the crane sanctuary was also a mythical site for them because of the energy that the crane carries. So now I call it the Kachina Ley because I first came upon that line by noticing the relationship between Hopi Mesa, where they did this snake dance to draw in the water spirits, the water Kachinas, from the San Francisco peaks, their home. And that line, I just, you know, because it's been a ceremonial line for years, I figured that it had to be a ley line, that relationship had to be some kind of ley current. So I followed that across the continent. Went through Shiprock and Crestone, many places of importance. But this is a journey I started, you know, probably in an early age. I was gifted with a father who had a passion for dinosaur footprints in the Connecticut River Valley, Massachusetts. And so I was out there at an early age digging up this rock that had footprints all over it. So it was like the rock was living. So it kind of keyed into my head, oh, you know, living earth. So ever since then, I've been trying to figure out how the earth, the whole Gaia hypothesis came about. So I've been looking to see how, all right, the earth is alive. How is it alive? And what are its organs? And how is it similar to us? And you know, what are the patterns of this living being? And what I've come to is that the earth is a living organism. It's a cell. You know, it has all the metaphors of a cell, of a nucleus and membrane. And that membrane is made up of arcing shapes that you see all over the globe. You know, the arc of the Aleutian Islands, the arc of Malaysia, Indonesia, Malaysia, and the arc of the China coast, and the arc of the North American tectonic plate, which you see in the Mexico, California, Cascadia arc. So most mountain ranges tend to be arcs, and I found that all these arcs had central nodes that were typically granite, some kind of granite pluton that had a deep connection to planet Earth. So, which is very similar to a cell's integral membrane protein, which are geometric in shape on a cell. So we as people, we are the integral membrane peoples, if you will. Imps, bunch of imps running around. And these rings are part of the consciousness field of the planet. It's the sensory organ of the planet. And quite often these central forms are also native sacred sites, like Pilot Mountain in North Carolina, and Shelburne Falls, which is a place of peace in Western Massachusetts. So it just evolved into a study, and the New Madrid Fault came into clarity by looking at the fault field itself, how the radiance of an earthquake that's generated by the New Madrid Fault expands. And although it's irregular, it has generally a circular shape. And that circular shape is surrounded by a ring of cities that cohere into a geometric. So what I'm speaking of is if you go clockwise direction from Chicago, the next stop is Serpent Mound, Ohio. Third one's Asheville, North Carolina. And then there's 5 that are in a regular kind of culturally significant sites. The skip one, that's in Georgia, and then New Orleans and Oklahoma City. So each one of these places, like for instance, the diameter of the circle between Asheville, North Carolina, and Oklahoma City is essentially the path of the Trail of Tears, where the peaceable tribes of the Southeast were forcibly removed in the mid 1800s forced to march without food in the middle of winter. And, just, thousands died, and, great suffering. And, yeah, so that's kind of like a bloodshot eye. The Trail of Tears is like a bloodshot eye around the central Pluton of New Madrid, the New Madrid seismic zone that in and of itself is tearing the continent apart. It's geologically ripping the continent apart. Eventually, there'll be a waterway that comes from Quebec City down to St. Lawrence, down to New Orleans through New Madrid because of that fault. It's the same fault line that goes up through Quebec City and right down through. So tremendous power that can be harnessed. It's telluric energy that can be tapped into, and as a co-creative energy between human consciousness, which is now Earth consciousness, to actually create something good. So clearing the trauma out of the zone, which also has to do with the North and South divide, the fight, the sin of the fight between brother and brother, is still something that's active today, and we see it on the streets of America contemporarily. So it's just this effort to try to release the collective trauma that has been accumulating since this country has been founded, and it's all around this Mississippi confluence area, which has all water. It's all this holy stuff, water coming together. But also this water holds all the effluent of all the people that like the opiates and all the drugs and everything else. It just goes down that river. So the memory of people's suffering and pain go into that river, and by cleaning that water and releasing that water of the burden is to flush out this trauma and this collective trauma, so we can start anew. We have a new beginning, and generate a field of wholeness between North and South, between all the tribes that have come to this land from all over the planet. There's a lot of, there's some really good ceremonies, that the Africans and Hawaiians have used for centuries to, heal a warrior when they come back, or heal someone that's, like to give forgiveness. They would surround the person who sinned against the tribe or whatever they did against the tribe, and they would, like tell them what great, what wonderful people they are, and how they were good, and this type of thing. So I'm offering this ring as an opportunity for us as a people to generate a ring of forgiveness, both for others and ourselves. Our ancestors, the memories that we carry in our epigenes, and create a healing for us personally, and create a healing for our collective body. So that's I think that's it in a little bit more than a nutshell, but it's what came out.
Fantastic. So hold on one second, David. So let's just take a moment, and that was a lot of information, and also this relationship between generating a field of wholeness and the forgiveness, how intricately that is connected. And so I just want to open it up, like Charlie said, just to share what's moving in you from what's being said, as well as questions, but to really allow and trust. This is one of the most beautiful things as part of being part of this collective, is that what emerges out of this experience of working together like this, and tracking today, this time it's Peter's movement, his voice, and other times it's somebody else's house or land, but that there's a sense of building of trust and opening to information, intuition, learning deeper skill levels of how we do work together, and how we work together at generating, which is what I'm loving is the frequency of forgiveness frequency, and it is a frequency. So with that, we open it up and let others share. And thank you, because that was really way more than I thought we were going to get. So thank you. Really beautiful. And we will talk about what it feels like as a collective to, I know there's been questions about privacy, doing it privately or, but I also trust the field. Like, isn't it funny that it would be showing up on Tuesday when we're all, this is when we come together. So I just really want to honor that and pay attention to that. So, yeah. So David, go ahead, and then whoever else wants to jump in.
Yes, thank you. I have a question for Peter. You mentioned the New Madrid fault, and I'm aware of a story, which truthfully I haven't really researched in terms of the accuracy of, but I heard a story that there was a massive earthquake along that fault in 1815. First of all, are you aware of that? Is that true? And does that have any connection to what you were referring there? And that's it. Thank you.
Okay, it was 1811, and in that time period, the great war chief Tecumseh was out and about trying to unite all the native peoples of the Mississippi Valley as a single political body, so that they could have a voice in this new government. And but they sided with the Brits, and Tecumseh sided with the Brits. But he went around with a he offered up, from what I understand, he offered up this bundle of red sticks, bâton rouge, and he said, okay, burn one stick for each moon. And when you burn the entire bundle, then there'll be a great sign, and this great sign will tell you to join in, as a single force, and drive the English from their lands, and unite the people, unite the people of the Mississippi Valley. So when everyone burned their stick, what happened was that the New Madrid fault tripped off, and it was a 9.5 Richter scale fault that changed the land around the boot heel. That boot heel that comes down out of Missouri, southern part of Missouri. That's a land that one gentleman bought, and because he wanted to be part of the North, in the Missouri Compromise, it was, they generated this boot down there just to accommodate this one big landowner who owned that land. And but at that time, the Mississippi River flowed north. The vibration, I think in San Francisco, we have 7.5s that destroyed the city down in Oakland. But a 9.5 is like 20 times stronger. So that tremendous energy being, it's like, in the state of tension all the time. And recently, right after I first introduced this project to the group, we had a hurricane that came up to New Madrid, and then took a ride and went over to, took a New York dime, turning on a New York dime or whatever. That's some saying I'm trying to come up with. But it took a right and went over to Asheville, North Carolina. Right on the tail of that hurricane, there was a small earthquake that also, rumbled to life. So it's like when we put out a field of consciousness, a coherent call for, collaboration with the planet, she responds. I found that consistent in doing it individually or collectively, and it's nature is very, very, very much excited about collaborating with us because we hold this this beautiful ability to connect heaven and earth because we're vertical. Our spines bring the energy down. So it's really, stewards, native people have seen it as their responsibility to honor sacred sites and go to sacred sites and pray there. And, that it's part of world maintenance to do this. The indigenous elders and wisdom keepers really should be, on the payroll to go out and take care of this, to do this stewardship work, because it is terraforming. It is maintaining a biostasis for the planet. And that New Madrid fault is the magic seismic zone is a it goes down 9 to 12 miles into the Earth's mantle, so you get this deep connection with planet. So yeah.
Thank you for that, brother.
Thank you, David.
This is Amani. And I really feel like this work is contiguous with the work that we did here at the chamber. And as I'm sitting here, I'm feeling like I did last week, and Tyson, I wanted to get your read on it. I feel like the energy is already working within the map that you showed us. And I really feel like it's like what I've been seeing is this opportunity for like the imp. That was one of the funny connections last week, is that that with the imp in Peter's project and me calling myself an imp and doing this planetary work, it's like I feel like we have the capacity totally within the connection field to orchestrate an equinox ceremony around this and to get behind his life vision. And so it's 7:30 in the morning. I don't think there's anybody in the connection field at 7:30 in the morning. And then we could like do the work and then check in later in the evening. So that's how it was. Like, I knew you were really busy and I just went with it because I was feeling really called to go with it. And I wanted to see what happened, and 20 people said yes. So I think if I did that and we all did that, we could have 150 people and we could have an imp act, a playful ceremony, serious ceremony, however you want it to be. But that's kind of, I just want to own up that I really feel this and I really put some energy behind it, and it looks like it's potentially can happen. So thank you.
Imani, it also comes at a time with the up convergence, and we have a connection field convergence room, which has been, I haven't been able to, if anyone wants to help with that, let me know. Haven't been able to get things in, but this would be the perfect thing to, it's part of that 11 days of unity. And the caravan, it would just be like, you can feel the potential, the vibration. I mean, okay, maybe earthquakes create not, 7.5, 9.5, but we can create like whatever, 10.5 with our love, with our intention, so it feels really, and I love that idea of possibility of 7:30. And if we come together and we get this out as a collective, how beautiful would that be to, bring the group together for the ceremony in the morning, and then look at what it would look like. And I see Grace like I can feel you with that map behind you going like, woo, the global.
Well, the ironic part, Shelley, I just drove over the Madrid Fault today, like at 3 o'clock. I came from Nebraska down Missouri over the fault. And when I was on the fault, so we were talking about this, I wasn't gonna be on this phone call tonight, been driving 4,000 miles in 2 weeks. I was still on the phone on here coming. And when I crossed the fault, I thought, oh, Kathy, we need to do some work here. And so when I get on this call and listen to you, I'm like, oh my gosh. So sign me up. Yeah, I just got off the trail, like literally out of my car on the Zoom call. I've been on the phone the past 40 minutes, whatever, listening. So sign me up. This is my work. Like, this is what I'm here to do. Yeah.
It's that conspiracy of Grace again.
I want to just say this because it's really important. For those who haven't met Grace, she is the initiator, instigator for the Global Heart Team, and has been a part of our Sacred Evolutionary Dowsing Consortium. And this is like really perfect because when Grace and Kathy, who she's talking about, came in a couple of years ago, they knew nothing about dowsing. They didn't even know what their relationship with the land was. And they came in and they went, we're in, learned how to douse, and just started taking off. And this is the magic that happens when we go into that interconnectedness with the mother and the earth and our heart. And this is heart resonance at its apex. So thank you for sharing that. Awesome.
So Peter, validate what you said. I felt it crossing it. I didn't know what I was feeling. I just knew there needed some work to be done. But yeah.
Great. The caravan is going to northern Maine. That they'll be up in northern Maine during the equinox, I think.
What's happening, and actually I have a meeting on Thursday with Bob Atkinson, so the Peace Planet Forum. So the actual tech team is not going to Maine, but there is a 2 to 3 day Peace Planet Forum. So we can, if you go in and sign at connectionfielddigest.org, you're going to get that information. There's already a link in there, but we can talk about that, Peter, and I'll be speaking with them on Thursday. So whatever, just listen for whatever needs to be shared. In fact, what's really incredible, hold on a second, that's really amazing. I saw Bob Atkinson I think he was on our call, just listening in at some point in the beginning. So, something's moving. Yeah. So as far as the caravan itself, yes, it is, but not the tech team with a video from Maine. But I'll be in Maine. And
from the map, what I'm seeing is that it looks like it's pretty close to Mount Katahdin.
Yep.
And that's on the same Kachinalay. That was where the crane ceremony was. So, there's a real concordance there. Working with this native ceremonial mythical landscape nodes that run across the continent. Good work. Grace at work.
I love how it's working because, we all listen and we're taught to listen here. And I was just on the phone with Charlie talking about, okay, I'm coming to Maine and listening for the 22nd. And I was thinking I wouldn't arrive till the 23rd, but again, just we're listening to where we're being called, and invite that for everyone who is tapping into this call. Where on that morning, where on that evening are you meant to be? What land are you standing on that's interconnected to the whole of this experience? So I think that's really, really, really important to pay attention to. And this is the gift of radical earth heart resonance, is where we're supporting this rippling of our interconnectivity in a way that allows for us to feel, so as human beings, we're focused on our humaning, being valued, connected, and whole, really feeling that. And here we have this opportunity to really feel that in intimately with the planet. When we're playing with these ley lines, when we're bringing our heart, when we're bringing that resonance, we are like delightfully, magnificently, just like what happened with Imani's land. For those who've been following us, we worked on Imani's land, and all of a sudden it's like this green light, go. And like she's saying now, already it's working there. So we get to play with that. So let's keep opening it up to a few others who haven't shared.
I just wanted to add that the ley lines and Mother Earth and stuff like that, it has really no boundaries. I was on the call last week, and like I said, we were going through where the Caravan of Unity was going through. And as Peter, was showing the little marker, on his mouse, it was going through, my energy was totally directed downwards. And I questioned, because I don't know a lot about the states, and I even, admitted, sorry about my ignorance, but I've been really drawn down to that area. And after we were discussing it, and you showed me the circles that you had all week, I've been very connected, and I think unconsciously, like I'll even wake up. So I think it's happening in my sleep state type of thing, where I'm already kind of working around that space. And I find that during the day, I've been doing a lot of research into different Native issues or wars that they had, disputes that they had, kind of thing, amongst themselves and stuff. So I'm definitely interested and to see where this will go and what can be done. So thank you.
Hello again, this is Karen. What's the only thing coming to me right now is, as far as the 22nd is, yes, let's do this in the morning, but to start the call at least 15 minutes before the equinox, so people arrive in plenty of time, and maybe start ceremony, before the equinox, during the equinox, and after. Because the energy isn't just at that moment, it is expansive. So just a thought.
Everyone bring their egg to balance.
Hi, this is Cherylistic here. Up in Alaska, there's definitely been some major shifting going on up here with the weather, and I wanted to bring in something someone had said to me about the juxtaposition of Alaska, and that the plates pushing on each other, and it's where three continents come together. And then also there with healing the land, what's been coming up for me, and I'm curious to know also, is how many gold mines are in these areas, and how much gold had been extracted from the earth on these particular lines. The golden thread is what connects the human to the cosmos and to the earth. And if we're, have extracted so much gold and the golden essence from the earth, it might be a great meditation to, weave with a golden thread and heal those wounds on the earth. One of the things that I was taught in energy healing for wounds on the body is that to heal the energetic field, you can do it with an imaginary golden thread and stitch the wound up after the energy has been drawn back in. So that's what's really coming up for me is the golds and the golden thread. Because that wound, I believe, goes, it's why the land was fought after. It was why the land was bought. The minerals and the riches are why the slaves were brought here. It's why things were sectioned off for payment for, the few from the many. So the minerals really are coming up for me, and I believe it's just a way to help heal these the ley lines, the threads, the points on the spider's web. Webs all come together in certain points. Those are the ley lines of the earth. So if the thread is lacking something, then it's not substantial. Thank you. I love you guys.
That's excellent. I see you have gold rimmed glasses on.
Yes, I do. Yes.
And many of us carry gold on our bodies and within it. Yeah. Oh, yeah. Tears of God.
That's a gold nugget from the Yukon River. So up in Prudhoe Bay, the north, where the gold alluviates itself, the river comes out, the ocean comes in, and instead of digging down, they find it really close to the surface, about 30 feet down in the water. So that's about a 2-gram nugget that I made for the evil eye or the eye of God or whatever. Protection.
Awesome.
Then my copper. So I'm all balanced. I have the gold, silver, and copper. Oh, and here's my puppy. Where is he? Say hi. Say hi. Say hi, wizard. Yeah, it's hard to see him. Anyway, he's been really fun. It's hard to be angry when you got this thing around.
Beautiful. So let's just open it to Susan and Tony and Tyson and Charlie, if you're feeling like you want to jump in. Also, if you still have the grid, Charlie, that you're working on, or Tyson, that map they're talking about, would love for having you guys screen share. So, but let's open it. Maybe you go get that together.
You'll have to allow me to share.
I don't think so.
Okay, that's okay.
It's interesting that gold was brought up because I just saw a picture last night of 2 grandchildren related to one of the people staying here, each holding a gold bar of $35,000 each from their parents' gold mine, right? So gold has been central to what's been going on. So thank you, Cherylistic. I never thought of the golden thread, and it makes so much sense the way that you said that. And I think you're absolutely right. When I've been doing land clearing, certainly the extraction of minerals, and particularly gold, comes up as a major wound to the earth that needs to be healed. So thank you for that. You give me a whole new insight. So thanks.
You're welcome. I'm glad to help, Tyson.
So it's interesting. Last week we talked about the grid, Peter, the Mending the Hope grid with the 9 cities around it, and people were talking about taking a place on the circle in the town. Are we looking from the outside or the inside? On this morning at 4 o'clock, I was awakened by Melchizedek, who had me work that grid through the messages I receive. I'm gonna see if I can share this. So it's slightly adjusted to yours. It's not exactly in the same locations. Can you see that? I can probably, I don't want to go too big. So it's the same grid work. And what I found was there were five water places that I was to connect to water, and 4 places that I was to connect just to land. And I was guided to connect it to the Peace Chamber at Imani's. And if you draw the line from the Peace Chamber, it goes right through Asheville to the New Madrid zone. On the Serpent Mound, so I started in Chicago, and it called me to go into it. There's a lane line that comes through that lake to connect to that. That's the water sign. And then the Serpent Mound, the New Madrid Center was actually a lake. It was Watson Lake. So as the river makes this sharp curve, it almost mimics the egg in the mouth of the Serpent Mound. So it's interesting how when I just bring these up is Amani's line goes through Asheville to New Madrid. I don't know how you pronounce that. Alabama was as a water. And when I looked up New Orleans, I was guided to one of your pages where you had a connection point at Bourbon Street and Esplanade Boulevard. And it was for something entirely different. So that's where I connected to it. And there's a rock there. And I don't know what the rock represents, but I would assume it's a historic moment or something in the history of New Orleans. So here again, when we work with the energies and spirit guides, etc., trust what you hear. And the Nacogdoches, Texas, was not a water, but it's based, that tribe, the tribes that were originally there lived between 2 rivers. And so this is the information that we're receiving, that this whole area is really calling to be attended to. Oklahoma City it's the North Canadian River, where they actually took like 7 miles of it and they dammed it and they made this wonderful waterway for their pleasure. But what did they do to distort the river flow? Manhattan, Kansas was also a river, I believe, yes. And when I went to Meskwaki, what I found on the Iowa River were the powwow grounds of that tribe, because they own that land. And so that's connected to the powwow grounds right there on the Iowa River. So all I'm suggesting is that all of us, if you don't have Peter's map, I think you can get it from his Facebook page. And I can certainly send this out, but I won't send this out without your permission, because this was your,
Well, absolutely.
this is your concept. But I can send you, everyone, a copy of this. It's just, but what it does is it just brings this all together of what we talked about last week and what we're leading into coming up next week. So we're in this flow. We're in this flow of energy, as I see it, that each one of us are receiving information uniquely, individually, specifically to prepare them for working on this this amazing gift you have presented to us to work on. So with that, I'm somewhat complete. I have a picture of your original one if people don't have it, but that's what I went off, was your original Mending the Hoop, and that's where I was guided to go. So if you have that original, check, it's the same principle. It's nine around one.
Charlie, if you have that original, maybe you could just throw it up for those that haven't seen.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, this was the, okay, where am I? I still get confused. Yeah, share screen. There it is. Okay. Yeah, I can see that. So this was the original one where he has the 9 cities marked. And this is what I just followed this morning, just taking this and listening to my guides and making these markers and making connections. And that's when I found the center point on the river, and there was sort of this little peninsula, and there was that, I believe it's called Walton Lake. So everything is connected to that point. So last week we talked about, people were saying, oh, I see myself in New Orleans, focusing on the center and, sending light and love and working from there. And so I believe that's what we had discussed last week, and it doesn't really matter, but we can talk about that and just feel into this whole area, this basically this heart center of North America that, as you just said, has had so many changes and so many traumas that we certainly, working together, will create a positive effect and release whatever needs to be released. And if not completely, we will open the doorway, the gateway for it to flow. And that's kind of what I was guided this morning. That's why there was so many water sites. But, thank you. I'm complete unless anybody has any questions.
Charlie, I was struck by your Google Earth map of the pattern of the land itself. There was like the Appalachian Mountains came down and then took a turn and went up to New Madrid and then back down to New Orleans, almost like a serpent that flows through that area.
Yeah. Well, again, that the serpent was really visible this morning. As I said, when I traveled to the Serpent Mound, and then I found a repeat pattern in the river in the shape of the land. And I said, this is too close to, I'm getting upset, my skin's rising now. This is too close to be, not exactly where I'm supposed to put the center mark. So that was for me. So, again, trust whatever you do, because I was going to put it in the river and it said it had to be water. I knew it had to be water, but when I saw that egg shape, I said, no, there's something about a rebirthing here. This is the snake is swallowing the egg, but in that moment, there's a rebirthing that's taking place. It's not, I don't look at it as devouring the egg. I look at the snake is offering the egg life. But that's my interpretation.
Thank you, Charlie.
That's definitely my interpretation of having spent time at Serpent Mound. I was blessed to be with Flor de Mayo there, and we were, she wanted to spend the night on the land, so we did. And I got to play the hong in the serpent. And one of the people who is connected to, who wants to participate in this work, lives in Serpent Mound, and she was the caretaker for the grounds for about 5 years. So one of the visions that I've had is like with us, like in this group, maybe like we each pick a place, and then if we, depending upon how many people want to come in and support it, like try to find people who are actually in those towns. Um, um, and just like, you know, people on the ground in the actual place. That is really exciting to me, and I'm not quite sure how to do it, but if 20 people responded to, hey, do you want to play? Then we probably could figure it out. I can probably figure it out in a week.
So I want to just drop something in at this point. Two things. It's really incredible. First of all, today in the Mayan calendar, in the Mayan cosmology, is 8 Khan. It is the serpent. So let's just take a breath at that. It's really amazing how these energies weave together. And just want to drop in a few things. It is the day to see behind the illusion, to see things as they truly are, to perceive both the positive and negative results of the application of power. Khan is one of the more powerful narwhals, and it represents power. It is connected to the serpents, and serpent symbolism is very strong. It is connected to the power of Khan comes from something which is referred to as eats, or, and I'm sure Claudia can speak to this, the lightning and the blood. This may also be known as the chi, the prana, and here we're talking about the energy of the ley lines, the leys. Khan brings great wisdom. It is said that the feathered serpent brought wisdom through the sciences of astronomy and agriculture to the ancient Maya. Here we see the positive aspects of Khan. The ability to work with the body lightning brings great wisdom. People who are born, or even people who are acting on this day, are healers or psychics. So to me, it's like this is, you know, very powerful. And as well, what was coming to me was, for those of you, one of the very first, the very first year of us coming together as a Sacred Evolutionary Dowsing Consortium, what came through was, I'm blanking out. Charlie, help me. The, Hearts Across the World. Thank you. Hearts Across the World. And we did exactly that. And it happened just absolutely magical. There was, we did a 24, and I'm not saying to do this, but it is like a weaving back in, it is a golden thread, because what we did was a 24-hour program where with the focal point of creating this Merkaba, there was some people in Egypt. There were people all over the country, Mount Wollumbin in Australia, and each one of us had a point. We're actually very connected to a certain point, and that was sort of the governor of the day, feeling that where you were, and then making that connection as we came together. And there was, you know, all throughout the day, there was music, there was celebration, there was meditations, there was a heart, we began the night before with a heart resonance. So I'm just bringing that in because it was amazing the amount of people that came together for that day, and everyone uniquely brought what it was for what it was for them to do to bring forth their wisdom, their love. So I'm not necessarily saying to get, you know, but it definitely, as soon as you were talking, Imani, it was like, oh my God, here we go. You know, because it was so potent to have people standing on that land and being, and so perfect, like Khan, being that lightning rod, bringing, you know, connecting your blood. Peter, what were you talking about when we first started was, you know, the relationship between us and the earth, that there is no separation. And when we understand ourselves as that, you know, inner ecology, when we understand then what we can accomplish, if you want to say that, but not so much as a goal or what, you know, we need to do something, but the fact that we just hold that energy and bring that energy, is so powerful. So I love what's being woven here, and just love to just kind of help people really feel what it is that, why they're being called. What is calling you? And if you do anything from leaving from this call, you're tapping into dreaming with why am I on this call? What am I being called for? What is that collective yearning and that collective dreaming that we're doing together? Inspired, yes, through Peter as a trans receiver, but through each one of us that are, like Charlie was saying, being prepared for this experience. How beautiful is that? And that goes for anybody who's listening on Facebook, and, feel free to breathe with this, feel that undulation. We started out tonight with that heartbeat, right? We started out with that heartbeat, tapping in to the mother, what she is creating through us and as us. So, so I just want to make sure that Tony and Susan, if you feel like coming in, I just saw Jerry coming in. If you just want to just trust, it could be just a simple word, or maybe letting us know that you happen to be on one of those, you're living on one of those points, or whatever it is, just to bring your voice in. So
I have a drum song. I have a drum song that's been coming through. This is Susan.
Okay. And then Tony, I saw Tony reaching, so go ahead.
Hey, I mean, I'm in Virginia now, but I grew up in Wisconsin and by Sandhill Crane Refuge. I've been to Serpent Mound. I'm part Native, in the Trail of Tears, actually, what I heard recently, the people were finally asked to leave when gold was found. And the Native people really didn't value the gold because it wasn't consumable, so they didn't really use it. But that's what drove them. That was the final straw for the Americans, or whatever, our country forming, was that we had to get the Native people away from the gold that was found by their homeland. So that was just interesting. But I just have a song to share that's been coming through. And it's for the water, and it's for the connectedness. And I feel like the octagon you presented, I've been at many of those points. For every point on that octagon, that's the center of another octagon. So it goes all over the world. And the water coming up, slowly moving Sally, there down in the Gulf, she's probably will make the Mississippi River go the other direction. And we need the waters in the West, and there's a great healing. So this is the song, as come what may. It's for the waters and connection and healing. And I am complete.
Thank you.
Hello, everybody. It's often said that the better part of conversation is listening, and so that's basically the role I'm playing tonight. I would say that it's just a real pleasure luxuriating in the collective consciousness of this group, and that the beginning is near because we're here. And I've really been taking in a lot of information tonight. I really appreciate the opportunity, and just would leave you with the idea that the beginning is near because we are here. Thank you very much.
Good evening.
I missed most of this call. I will go back and listen to it. I've really been tuned into that relationship with the elementals and the land and the moving of energies as I sit here in the smoke, you know, calling forth like the right combination of wind and air and fire and earth for the rains to come gently. And, you know, that place between, I was sharing this around the fire with Amani on Sunday, the place between all of the songs that I've learned around ceremony of beseeching creation as humble beings, as pitiful beings, and that what's really come to me as I ask for the help with the land for the work to be done on a huge scale with these huge fires is that approach, that humble approach, because we are very powerful. And therefore it's like tempering, like that part of being as, you know, thinking about last week when Claudia's husband was saying, like, you know, nature beings were calling us bugs, and totally seeing that, like the littleness and also the immensity of ourselves. And yeah, so just working with these things and working with the earth and working with the elementals where there's such a big need. It's such a big fire just over a couple of ridges from here. And I'm grateful that this circle gathers and other circles gather, and there's wisdom shared so freely, and the opportunity to tune in and receive guidance. Mahei Mitakuyasin.
May I ask a question? Last week we had the picture with all the circles up. Peter, as you know, I was led to a location where 3 or 4 circles crossed. And I asked where that was, and you got back to me and said it was Baton Rouge, which is just in line with just north of New Orleans, because I got that that's last week where I was supposed to be placed for this. Is that close enough to New Orleans? And it's funny you brought up the sticks and Baton Rouge today. So could it possibly be Baton Rouge instead of New Orleans? And the other thing, I'm okay, go ahead.
It's the Delta. You know, the outlet of the river is the Mississippi River itself. And Baton Rouge and New Orleans is part of the same center of energy. I'm sorry to interrupt you, Karen. Go ahead.
And that's okay. So if I see myself placed in Baton Rouge instead, that's okay?
Yeah, yeah.
Okay.
Of course.
I also see this thing next week morning. I see it starting earlier and with some music and possible stuff going on. I hear Amani's music, and if Jerry's there, Jerry's flute, and I just think it could really help set the I don't know, I can't think of the right words, but just a way to begin bringing in that music. And then after we finish this project, there is, Cheryl Listick brought up something, I don't know if it was last week or the week before, about seeing like a black goo instead of like the blood through, you know, the veins of the planet.
And Peter, you sent out a connection to a man who talks about this rock and the black goo, which we've discussed before, for another project that we hope to do in a not too distant future. And I had some more thoughts on that too, so I would like to just put that out there for us to come back to that at some point. So I think that was all I had coming through right now, but I can just keep seeing it starting with music and stuff, and everyone placing themselves where they're guided to be and which direction they're meant to flow the energy, because last week someone discussed that, you know, clearing from the center out and others bringing energy from the outside in. And when you sent out the prayer that the one that Mary Hardy created, the vortex prayer, it kind of made sense. So didn't know if you wanted to bring any of that in either, Peter, and explain that to people.
So I'm just going to actually jump in because I mean, we can continue going, but also just want to honor people and honor the time. Just checking in with that as well, rather than bringing in something new. And basically, if people want to go check out what Karen's talking about, we can send it out. I've invited people to message Imani, or you can email us or PM message myself. But what's being talked about is the Holy Grail Vortex by Mary Hardy. And we can talk about that. We can bring that in next week. I just want to really honor that. We just want to weave those golden threads right now to begin to.
Well, Peter sent that out for us last week, sometime during this past week, since last Tuesday, with some of the stuff. I don't know if you received it or not.
Yes.
So that was a suggestion that could be used for this event on the 22nd.
We can post it into the Facebook page. Imani and we're going to talk about creating Facebook page and an event page, and we'll get everyone on. We'll get everyone on the same page. Okay. Yeah, but thank you, Karen, and just so everyone knows, I mean, it was a really beautiful gesturing to bring Peter into this, into the connection field, and look what's happened here. How immaculate and beautiful that is. So if you want to be added to that mailing list, you can put your email in the chat or PM message for those on Facebook Live, and we'll get back to you and make sure that you're on that email list. So with that, I'm just going to invite, just checking in with Tyhson and Charlie, and just begin to weave this evening. And really just really trust what's moving in you. And I know we could go on for hours. And yeah, I just want to honor the time. So Charlie, Tyhson, you want to bring us home to the heartland of our collective heartbeat here, and close with a beautiful prayer. Or bring any last words in.
Grand Wise Tyhson, you're going to leave it up to me?
I'll just say one small thing, and that is, it was really clear to me that when we're working on the heartland of America and healing America, we're really healing our own hearts. So this is really an inside job, and it's our opportunity to look at our own ley lines, our own fault lines, our own trauma, our own atrocities that we may have been involved in, not only in this lifetime, but lifetimes. And I don't mean this from a point of guilt, oh, ain't we awful. I mean in the context of the serpent, to being born anew, right? Becoming the feathered serpent, which is through gratitude and forgiveness, and through doing Ho'oponopono, and that's the way through this. It's the way through for America to heal as well. But it all begins in our own hearts, as we already know. So I've certainly been working on that. And thank you for reminding me of why I was awake the last 3 nights. I too probably was standing on the edge of that circle, helping do some healing in the heartland of America. I know I couldn't stop talking to it on the call today with my group, so it's certainly front and foremost in my mind, and I look forward to meeting you all as we gather to do more work on this important aspect. So with that, I'm complete, and over to you, Charlie.
Beautiful. Thank you, Tyhson. So as we gather to close and share our hearts in this moment of divine presence, I just ask everyone to take a soft inhale and allow yourself to feel the waters within you, the water of your breath as you inhale, the water of your breath as you exhale, knowing that we are the water, on that the water that's being represented here in this grid, the water that's within Mother Earth's layers and layers of presence beneath where we have tapped into. Know that we're connecting with the waters of the heart, the waters that are flowing through the heart of Mother Earth. This is no coincidence. This is her calling us to her heart. And as we open our hearts, they become one. We become one with Mother Earth, as we were thousands upon thousands of years ago. And when we came to Earth that first time, let us remember what that was like, what the peace, the light, the love that we shared and embraced with Mother Earth. And we knew this was a new beginning. This was a new beginning for all of us. So too, as we come up to this equinox moment, is a new beginning for each of us. We don't know what that looks like. We don't know what's going to be in store for us, but we know that we will be forever changed in this moment as we gather together as this 9 around 1, again, around that beautiful map and grid work that Peter has gifted us with, his knowledge and wisdom of so many years of working with this. And we honor you, Peter, and we honor Mother Earth, and we honor each other as we come together in this sacred work that we have certainly gathered together to do in this time of amazing transformation. I love you. I thank you. I respect you. I am you. You are me. Together, we are unity. Aho, matakuyasu.
I think Tony just wanted to add a few lines, and then we could drum ourselves out, or if Amani, if you want to, or we can just, Jerry, play the flute. If you feel like it, we can just close here. But Tony has asked to just share a couple of lines, and we continue this deep resonance as we move into the dream time.
Okay. Healing the universe is an inside job. It starts within your mind. That's where you make the choice to be evil or be kind. There's a galaxy without and a galaxy within. Thought is what rules it all. But love, sweet love is what it's all about.
As I wipe ash off my flute that's been on the porch.
Come on, last. It's pitch black.
Mm. We give thanks for the opportunity to be here together in this time and in this place. We give thanks for the impact that we all have. We give thanks for the fact that we remember to appreciate ourselves and to remind ourselves what we really love about ourselves and our lives, and that we share that with each other and we share that with the world, and we help to make the world a better place simply by showing up, even if you can't see my sweet face.
All right, good night, everyone. Enjoy your dream. Take notes. Let us know next week what is happening. We'll let you know about this beautiful event that's evolving here tonight. So we'll see you tomorrow morning at the People's Fire. Bring your soul to the fire even tomorrow morning, 6 a.m. Pacific, here in the connection field, 9 a.m. Eastern, whatever else that is for you. So love you so much. Stay in touch. Okay. Love you all. Amazing, amazing evening. Tyson, let's get that on YouTube if you can. And then, oh, actually it's on Facebook so we can share it. Okay, perfect. If you know anyone who you want to be part of this, tonight's experience would be a great way for people to tune in because they'll get the whole experience. So, mwah, blessings, everyone. Good night. Good night. Good night. Ooh.
All right, love you all. Thank you much.
Love you. Love you, love you.
Good night, everybody.
Night.